So, I wanted to read to you verse 6 in the Tao Te Ching. The spirit that never dies is called the mysterious feminine. Although she becomes the whole universe, her immaculate purity is never lost. Although she assumes countless forms, her true identity remains intact. The gateway to the mysterious female is called the root of creation. Listen to her voice. Hear it echo through creation. Without fail, she reveals her presence. Without fail, she brings us to our own perfection. Although it is invisible, it endures. It will never end. Now, I'm not sure why Lao Tzu, the author of this book, the Tao Te Ching, has referred to the presence, our creator, our source, our God, our Shiva, whatever you want to call it, because there's plenty of names all throughout religion and various texts, that it's, a male source. However you want to look at it, male or female, it really doesn't matter. But if I personally could take a moment to say thank you to my source, my creator, my God, mi amor, mi Shiva, thank you for all you've ever done for me and all you will ever do for me. Thank you for allowing me to come back to life when I was a kid, just a dumb kid. Thank you for all the good blessings, wonderful times, everything that is good within my life. And thank you for all the bad too. Because I know that without having bad experiences in your life, you can't fully appreciate all the good that you have within your life. And I'm so grateful for everything that's ever been within my life, because it's led to where I am today, and that's something I'm proud of. You're supposed to see God within everything that's living and not living. And I can truly say that I can see God in all things, whether it's good or bad. I have met so many people in far worse conditions than I could have ever imagined my life getting down to in that level, People that are homeless and, struggling, and, that's just to say the least. I've seen some pretty bad things in my life. I've gone through some pretty bad things in my life. I'm really grateful for all that I have, or will ever have. So I think when it comes to wanting to maintain a sense of non-tarnishment, however you want to say it, because you don't want to tarnish any relationship you have with our source. You want to do all you can to maintain a positive, connection to your source while we're here on this planet. If there's anything that you've ever gone through in your life that's bad, try to see it as a blessing, as a learning experience, something that you could grow from. Even if it's something that you really can't grasp, find gratitude for it. For it teaches you things, whether you like it or not. It teaches you, to say the least, to be proud of all you have and all you've been able to accomplish in your life. I don't know where I'd be otherwise. And if anything along the way I had decided to do differently, be it like a butterfly effect, I wouldn't be where I am today. My life is going down a path of enlightenment, and I'm grateful for everything. Truly, truly grateful. Now, when it comes to all the positive things you're supposed to focus on, there's so many things. I can make a whole list of all the things that I'm grateful for. I think that's something, like I had said before in previous episodes of this series, that you really should do. But then, at the same time, don't just write a list of all the things that you're grateful for. Write a list of all the bad things that you've had to encounter in your life, and flip that around into being part of the list that you're grateful for. I'll give you an example, and it may not be the best example, and it may not relate to everyone. And at this point here, I don't even know what I'm going to say, But, something I've gone through that was bad. Me personally. Okay? I've got a whole list full of them. But how can I turn them into a positive? Because really, there's just too many of them to give you one example. Well, instead of saying this was so horrible that happened to me, turn it around to say, I'm really grateful I walked through that experience, that it's helped shape me into a better human being and a better soul. And I'm really grateful for anything that I may have gone through that I felt was just lower than low or worse than worse, and, the badder of bad, Whatever you can do to take the negative experiences in your life and turn that into a sentence and turn it into a positive sentence. Like, I am thankful that I have gone through moments of uncertainty and poverty and abuse and torture, prostitution as a child, all the kinds of things that you really shouldn't be grateful for. I'm grateful that I had gone through those experiences because it allows me to appreciate the little things that I have and the little blessings that other people might overlook. Don't you think it's a better way to look at things? One of my relatives who I haven't spoken to in 2 years, who I grew up with as like my toxic twin, she's had a real hard time with coming to terms with some of the things in our past. And it's easier said than done when you give someone advice and you're just, don't worry, I forgive you, and you need to let it go because it's eating you up alive. But if I could say, where would you be without that? What type of a person would you be without that? How much gratitude towards life and the little moments and blessings that you have would you be able to experience? And, how much gratitude would be within you had you not had those negative experiences? Life is meant to be enjoyed. It's also meant to be a learning experience for your soul along the way, So, you gotta find a way to feel grateful for everything, including the negative things that have happened. because they really do eat you up alive and consume you and take you to a dark place. And if you're to look back on your life, do you really want to go and, spend the rest of your days living in darkness and negativity and dwell? No, not at all. Everyone wants to find happiness and peace and joy and fulfillment and prosperity and abundance and all the wonderful things that are in life. Utilize the negative things that have happened to you along the way into a positive form and into a blessing. Now for me, like all the negative things that I've gone through, growing up, right down to having hits put out on me. And then with having my death as a child, I want to give back to the human race. And I want to be there for children. I personally, like I've said before in previous episodes of this series, I don't have any children of my own. But with my childhood, I want to give back to children more so than anyone else. I mean, like, not to quote Whitney Houston or anything, but really, I believe the children are our future, and we've got to teach them well and let them lead the way. And then blah, 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 the rest of the song, but take any sort of negative experiences you have and find a way to write them down on paper, starting with the words I am, followed by grateful for, and continue on. Because if you can find a way to tell our source, our God, our creator, at the same time you're saying, telling our source, how awful that was, and you don't ever want to go through that again. If you're finding a way to tell our source and our creator how much you've learned from it and how much it shaped you into who you are today and how grateful for, how you are today and everything. I mean, for one, it eases the burden upon you. It'll help with a lot of guilt. It'll help with a lot of fear and sadness and darkness and despair. And it'll help you see how much you've got in your life to be grateful for. And if we can find a way to be grateful for everything leading its way to who you are and what you're thankful for and how your life has turned out and everything. I mean, if you're grateful for everything, our source will give you more to be grateful for. So when it comes to writing those things that are negative and how you're grateful for them, look at the way you're writing them. You want to say that you're grateful for the learning experience that you had. And while you wish not to ever experience something like that again, you're grateful that God has entrusted you with something that horrific. Do all you can to make it positive. And it'll help you overcome all the darkness and despair that you might feel from the negative things in your past. Another example would be like one of my relatives as a child saw her mother stabbed and laying there in a pool of blood. We've gone through some pretty heavy stuff, dude. How would you say to God that you're grateful for that experience? Well, you could say something to the effect of, God, I'm really grateful that I, as a child, had the experience of seeing my mother lying there in a pool of blood, stabbed, barely clinging to life. Because today in my life, it helps me to appreciate a little bit more of life's little moments. And it helps me to see that in the blink of an eye, something bad can happen and tragedy can take form. And I have so much to be grateful for. So while that, my whole entire life, and this is something I would say she would be saying, right? This is something that I've struggled with my entire life and trying to find peace with and move forward from. And I can't stop seeing it before me. Well, you can say to God, something to the effect of how, you're going to learn from that. And you're going to learn to cherish life a little bit more and, not take everything so, for granted, and to enjoy life and every little moment that you have with those that you care for and those that you love. And how maybe if you hadn't have had that experience, you wouldn't be as appreciative for the little things in life that people overlook and take for granted. All those years you may have been embarrassed by your parents or something, that taught you in that moment that, life can be short. And it taught you to say out loud, because, she didn't die in that moment. It taught you, or it allowed for you to have a moment afterwards with them to say, gee, Mom, and that was my grandmother, to say, I'm really sorry for all the bad things that I may have ever done. I'm sorry for all the negative things that you have ever had to do and go through. And, I'm really thankful God has given me another chance to say I love you to your face and not your casket or your urn. And I'd like to take that opportunity to, wrap my arms around you and tell you how much I love you. And if you ever go through anything like that again, you just know that I love you. And God has given me a moment where I'm grateful that I have another moment to share with you how much you mean to me. You see how that could have turned into something positive? I think we all need to just take a moment and reflect on our lives. All the good and all the bad, and turn all the bad into positive statements. So that we can move forward in our life. Be it whether you're on a path of enlightenment or, anything. If we can just find gratitude and learn the lessons that we're supposed to, everything will get easier. And we'll be allowing ourselves to open up for more blessings. And hopefully we won't go through, more bad experiences, but, maybe you can say that too. I'm grateful for all the negative things that I've gone through, for being there to teach me along the way, and I'm really grateful that you've allowed me to move beyond the negativity that I've ever experienced into having a better life. Because I'm really grateful for the life that I have. And maybe I wouldn't have been so grateful for everything had I not gone through negative experiences. So you see, you can turn that around. You can turn any negative experience you've gone through into a moment of gratitude to help you move forward in your life and your future. I love you. Even all the people out there that I don't even know. Even all the people that want to leave comments of how I need to be murdered and everything, I'll love you. Namaste, my babies.